So we've been tracking the AI race for years now. And
Hmm.
for most of that time, the story has. It's been remarkably simple.
Right. Bigger is better.
Yeah.
Build a bigger model, you get better performance. That was the whole game.
The entire industry, it just seemed dedicated to this one brute force approach, building these massive proprietary models that were supposed to be the the single source of truth for everything.
Exactly.
But today, what we're seeing in our sources, it feels like a fundamental shift, a
Oh.
real paradigm change. The race isn't just about building the biggest brain anymore.
No, it's about building the smartest team.
The smartest team, yes. And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to unpack this concept of ensemble orchestration. It's a technical breakthrough, but it is completely upending how we even measure performance.
And we're using this, frankly, kind of staggering example from a company called SUP AI to make the point.
Staggering is the right word, because if you need that one aha moment, that single data point to prove this is all real.
You just look at the benchmark scores. It's right there in the sources. Using this orchestration approach, SUP AI hit a new state-of-the-art score, a SOTA of 52.15% on the HLE benchmark.
Okay, so a number like 52.15%. For a lot of people, that might just sound like technical jargon. We need to put that into context. Why is that number such a massive signal?
Well, it's huge because of what the HLE benchmark actually is. It's the high-level evaluation, and it's not some simple vocabulary test.
Right, this isn't just pattern matching.
Not at all. It's designed specifically to test really complex, high-level reasoning. So think multi-step problems, interpreting ambiguous instructions, connecting dots between different pieces of information.
The kind of stuff that enterprise users, that advanced researchers actually need an AI to do.
Precisely. And for the longest time, the top score on this benchmark was stuck, in the high 40s. Just getting past 50% was seen as this major barrier.
So the fact that SUP AI jumped all the way to 52.15%, that's not just a small step forward.
It's a leap. And it suggests that the old way, just making a model bigger, wasn't going to get us over that hump. You need a fundamentally different approach.
And that raises the ultimate question that our sources are all wrestling with. This SOTA score, it was achieved not by building a new giant, but by building a better system. So does
Well,
it mean the dominance of the single massive frontier model just doesn't matter as much anymore?
is that era kind of fading? It's a very compelling argument.
Especially when you think about the money involved.
Oh, absolutely. The economics of it. For so long, the cost of training one of these trillion parameter models was the barrier to entry. Only a few giant companies could even play.
But if you can now get SOTA results, superior results, through clever architecture, through synthesis, not just raw compute.
It changes the entire economic structure of AI.
Okay, let's pull back the curtain on this a bit. Before we get into all the competitive implications of that 52.15%, we really need to understand the mechanism. So what exactly is ensemble orchestration? And how is SUP AI using it?
So, in essence, you can think of it as AI meta management. It's a really sophisticated strategy. The old way is you send a query to one model, you get one answer back.
Simple enough.
Ensemble orchestration is completely different. It pulls together multiple existing models, and this is the key. It assigns them roles based on the task,
Mhm.
and then defines how they all have to interact.
And in SUP AI's case, the sources say they're pooling, 40 different
All
models.
the 40 top AI models,
Yeah.
all into one seamless system. And it's a mix. Some are those proprietary giants we were talking about, and others are highly specialized open source models.
40 models. That's a massive operational shift right there.
Yeah.
It flips the whole mindset for developers and for users from, I need the single best tool to, I need the best orchestrated toolkit.
And it's not just taking a poll,
Mm.
It's much, much smarter than just asking 40 AIs the same question and picking the most popular answer.
Mm.
The technique uses this orchestration layer that actually understands the strengths and weaknesses of every single model in the pool.
So it's like a really good manager.
A very good manager. So a complex reasoning task might get broken down by model A, but then the subproblems get routed to model B, which is great at math, and model C, which is a genius at semantic interpretation.
I see.
And then that orchestration layer takes those outputs from B and C and synthesizes a final refined answer. The whole point is that the result is fundamentally better, more accurate than any single one of those 40 models could have done on its own.
To make that relatable, it kind of sounds like managing a really high-stakes project in the real world.
Go on.
Like, say a firm is designing a Hyperloop system. You don't just hand the whole project to your lead material scientist, no matter how brilliant they are.
Right, you wouldn't ask them to also handle the environmental impact assessment and all the local
The
regulations.
result would be a mess. Instead, you bring in 40 specialists, right? The best in structural engineering, aerodynamics, public safety, financial modeling.
That is the perfect analogy. And the project manager, the orchestrator, in your example, make sure that each specialist contributes their absolute best work at exactly the right time.
And the final Hyperloop system is safer, better, more innovative than if any one of those people tried to do it alone. The value isn't just in the
It's
specialists.
in the project management, the
Yeah.
quality of the orchestration. Precisely. The value is migrating from the raw performance of the parts to the intelligence of the system that synthesizes them.
Okay, but this is where I have to get critical. I mean, pulling from 40 different models, some of them huge proprietary ones, the first thing that comes to mind for any enterprise user is complexity and latency. I mean, running 40 models sounds incredibly expensive and probably really, really slow.
And it would be. That's a great question, and the sources do address it. It would be an operational nightmare if you ran all 40 models for every single query.
So how do they get around that?
That's where the orchestration layer gets even smarter. It uses these highly specialized routing algorithms. So when your query comes in, it gets categorized instantly, and the system dynamically routes it to maybe just the 3 or 4 models most likely to add value.
Ah, so it's selective.
Very selective. It only brings in the others if the first set of results falls below a certain confidence score. It's all about minimal necessary compute for maximum possible results.
So it's not just managing the answers, it's managing the resources too, optimizing cost, minimizing latency by being smart about who it talks to and when.
Exactly. And when that's your mechanism, the results are what shatter the old way of thinking.
Hmm.
The sources use the phrase absolutely crushes the top models on that HLE benchmark. That isn't just a technical note.
No, that's a competitive declaration.
It changes the purchasing decision for every single organization out there.
Which leads us right into this performance paradox. Now, if you're a consumer, if you're an enterprise organization, you have this choice. If this orchestrated method is consistently giving you the best answers, that SOTA of 52.15% why would you lock yourself into a license for just one model?
You're asking the question that destabilizes the whole industry's incentive structure. For years, these proprietary models have demanded premium prices and deep vendor lock-in based on their supposed individual power.
Their dominance.
Their dominance, yes. But if you, the user, can now get a system that intelligently pulls from 40 different models, some of them are those giants, some are specialized open source models, and the final product is measurably better.
Then that premium price for the single giant starts to look really hard to justify.
You're essentially paying top dollar for a dominance, that is.
Yeah.
Well, it's functionally irrelevant to the actual result you want.
Yeah, you don't care about the number of parameters inside a model. You care about the quality and the accuracy of the final answer it gives you.
And that single model dominance just kind of fades into the background because the best solution is demonstrably a team effort. The whole procurement conversation shifts from who's the biggest to who's the best collaborator, who is the best system orchestrator.
The risk changes too. Vendor lock-in suddenly seems like a really bad strategic move when you know that peak performance relies on diversity.
Exactly.
So it really does feel like we're watching this shade from a competition of isolated power to one of utility and synthesis. And if that's true, what does this mean for the future of AI development itself?
That might be the biggest implication of all in these sources. They call it a potential big win for open source, a democratization of high performance.
How so?
Well, think about a developer right now trying to decide what model to build next. If the market is telling them that the highest value is in these ensemble orchestrations, their whole objective changes. Instead of trying to pour billions of dollars into building the next monolithic gigamodel 10.0, they can focus. They can focus on specialized excellence. They can build an open model designed not to be the most powerful generalist,
but to be the most useful component, the best piece of the puzzle for an ensemble system.
That's it. So instead of trying to be the jack of all trades, you aim to be the world's most effective specialist in one specific area.
So you could build a model that's, I don't know, unparalleled at legal citation extraction, even if it's terrible at writing poetry. In the old world, that's a niche, maybe low-impact model.
But now in this new world, that specialist model becomes an essential high-value component for a successful orchestration layer. It just dramatically lowers the barrier to entry.
Right, smaller developers, research teams, they don't need $1 billion and a giant GPU cluster to compete for SOTA anymore.
They just need to create a highly refined, provably superior model for one key task. And its value gets leveraged and multiplied by the system. That's where the real efficiency is unlocked.
So we're really talking about a whole new design philosophy for the AI ecosystem. It's shifting the race away from that resource-intensive brute force sprint for a single winner
Right.
to a race for specialized collaborative utility.
Right.
You're now optimizing for how well you play with others, and that is just a much healthier competitive landscape.
It democratizes performance.
Yeah.
Because that 52.15% SOTA score, it was achieved by smart software figuring out how existing models talk to each other, not by spending another billion on compute to train a new one from scratch.
Which forces us to ask a really tough question of the current tech giants, doesn't it? If the real value is moving into that orchestration layer, and that layer is designed to use the best tool for the job no matter who built it, what does that do to the value of a single closed proprietary model?
That is a very compelling challenge to the long-standing investment thesis. So what does this all mean for you, the learner? I mean, we've seen that superior AI performance is now being defined by collaborative intelligence, by smart integration, not just by raw model size. The smart system wins. And that leaves us with, I think, a final provocative thought for you to chew on. If the future of state-of-the-art performance really is in optimizing the system that orchestrates 40 different models, does this fundamentally devalue that massive multi-billion-dollar investment it takes to train a single closed frontier model?
Does it force the giants to become more transparent or even to collaborate more?
Because they might realize they can't be the isolated champions anymore. To stay relevant in this high-performance economy, they may have to become really good ensemble players themselves.
That structural pressure is definitely building. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into what looks like the end of single model dominance. We'll see you next time.